Hi, I'm Paula. Welcome back to the channel. Here we focus on what's actually happening in crypto, not hype, not price predictions for clicks, but the structural shifts that explain why markets move the way they do, and sometimes why they don't. And today's story is a perfect example of that, because there's a headline doing the rounds that sounds dramatic, bullish, and honestly, a little misleading. XRP is coming to Solana. And whenever headlines like this appear, the market reacts in two predictable ways. One group expects price to explode immediately. Another group dismisses it entirely because nothing happens. But both reactions miss the real story, because this isn't about XRP moving chains. It isn't about abandoning the XRP ledger, and it definitely isn't about a short-term pump. What this actually shows us is how the next phase of crypto is being built. Quietly, structurally, and with institutions in mind. And once you see it through that lens, this announcement makes a lot more sense. So let's strip away the noise and talk about what's actually happening. A regulated digital asset custodian called Hex Trust will begin issuing wrapped XRP, wXRP. This wrapped XRP is fully backed one-for-one by real XRP, held in a regulated segregated custody, minted only when XRP is deposited, burned when XRP is redeemed. That XRP never leaves custody. The XRP ledger remains the anchor. What changes is where that value can be used. wXRP can now operate across other blockchains, including Solana, Ethereum, Optimism, and Hyper EVM, allowing XRP to interact with DeFi environments that previously it couldn't access. And that distinction matters more than people realise. This is not migration, it's expanded utility. To understand why this matters, you have to zoom out a bit. Crypto is moving away from isolated chains competing for attention and towards specialised layers working together. Sentiment layers, execution layers, liquidity layers. XRP has always positioned itself as a neutral settlement asset, but what it's lacked until now is direct access to high-activity DeFi environments without compromising regulatory standards. And that's where Solana comes in. Solana isn't being chosen because it's fashionable, it's being chosen because it's fast, cheap, and liquid, and it's already being used at scale. This allows XRP to plug into activity without becoming dependent on it. And that's not accidental, that's design. Now this is the most important part, and it's barely mentioned in most coverage. This is regulated DeFi access. Hex Trust is a regulated custodian. The XRP is held in segregated custody. The issuance and redemption process follows KYC and AML standards. And cross-chain movement uses LayerZero's OFT standard, not a fragile bridge. That matters because bridges have been one of the biggest points of failure in crypto. Billions lost, repeated hacks, and no accountability. Institutions don't deploy capital into that environment. So instead of trying to force institutions to accept crypto's weaknesses, crypto is being rebuilt to meet institutional requirements. And that's what this represents. Not hype, infrastructure alignment. Another detail that tells you exactly who this is for. wXRP is launching with over $100 million in locked value from day one. That's not retail experiment. That's not let's see if this works. That's pre-planned liquidity, pre-arranged custody, pre-approved structure. Institutions don't chase narratives. They build rails first, then deploy capital later. Now, when I look at stories like this, I'm not asking, will this pump price tomorrow? I'm asking, does this change liquidity conditions? Does this change where capital can move? Does this affect longer-term positioning? Because trading, especially consistently, isn't about chasing headlines. It's about understanding when infrastructure shifts before the price reflects it. That's how I trade both bull markets and bear markets. And it's why stories like this matter even when the charts look quiet. And since I get asked this all the time, yes, I do actively trade. One of the exchanges I use regularly is Blowfin. Not because they pay for hype, but because they've built strong liquidity, excellent community bonuses, trading rewards that actually benefit active traders, and a platform that works whether you're scalping or positioning longer term. If you want to check them out, I've left my Blowfin link in the description, which gives you access to their community bonuses and trading rewards. As always, use tools responsibly, manage risk properly, and never trade more than you can afford to lose. So this announcement tells us something very clear about XRP's long-term positioning. XRP isn't trying to dominate every chain, it isn't trying to replace DeFi ecosystems, and it isn't abandoning its own ledger. It's positioning itself as a settlement asset that can operate across environments while remaining anchored to its own network. That's not dilution, that's scalability. And when David Schwartz says more XRP ecosystems is a good thing, this is exactly what he means. So no, XRP isn't moving to Solana. It's evolving in the way institutional crypto has to evolve, quietly, structurally, without needing hype to validate it. If this video helped you, hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Do you think interoperability is the future of crypto, or will chains always stay siloed? And as always, if you're interested in joining our Crypto Wolfpack community, a community full of normal people looking at charts, talking macro, and really understanding what's going on behind the headlines, the link is in the description below. And if you want to understand the exact strategies I use when trading, the link to the free Crypto Liftoff course is in the description. It's an understanding of the strategies we use to make money both in the bull market and the bear market. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.